you have any questions there, Bob? You're pretty quiet today. I'm a little worried.
I was
Yeah,
curious
I'm
about.
surprised he's very quiet.
Obviously, Al, the idea is to go in the most direct route possible, to make the line as short as far as the number of materials that go into building a line. How challenging is that to make it avoid? I mean, you were talking about avoiding pivots and that.
Yeah, that is one of the main considerations that goes into it. By having a direct route, we reduce the cost. We reduce the exposure of our line to storms and weather conditions, whatever else. The other thing, by going with a direct route, is we impact less people, less land. So that is one of the provisions that we consider as we go forward. The other thing you need to know, though, is when we route these transmission lines, there's about 36 different things we look at.
36.
And so there's just a lot of things that go into this. And I think we heard before, we have to consider the environmental impacts. Again, we look for any obstructions across the property, things like that. And so it's an extensive process. And if we can come up with the shortest route and achieve a route that's not going to impact everybody, that's great. Sometimes we do have to, take some curves in there and whatever to get a line out there that's going to provide minimal impact. So.
A while back, I gave Rick a book to read. Have you finished that yet?
No.
Have you got to the part where, okay, this is an example of what transmission can mean to a project. In that book, they're talking about a massive solar installation in Arizona that they put up, and they were trying to get electricity from that site to Southern California.
Right.
It took them 11 years to get the transmission. The solar installation was up and running and making juice. But they took them 11 years to get it because of the transmission difficulties they had in Southern California. And I'm assuming probably similar sort of things. They were cutting across businesses and different situations. But it really made it almost unfeasible to think about providing solar-powered electricity to Southern California just because it took them so long to get the transmission line. What's our time frame here? I mean, is the wind farm going to be built at the same time the transmission lines, or is the transmission thing going to be in place first and then, or are they going to happen simultaneous?
The wind farm is set to go in service at the end of 2012. We will have the transmission in place, I think, by October of 2012, if I recall. And the reason for that is they need the power there so they can test their facility and do various things before they bring it into full operation.
Al, is there differences wind is fairly new in this area. In Nebraska, we haven't had a lot. Is there differences for you in creating a transmission line for a wind farm than some other source of energy?
Not really. Basically, a transmission line is a transmission line. For this particular facility, we'll construct a 115,000 volt line. Now, if we come out of a larger power station like Cooper Nuclear Station or Gerald Gentleman Station, then we're looking at 345,000 volt lines. So that's kind of the difference between them. But otherwise, we go through the same process that we do irregardless of the voltage.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of want to back up a little bit. The question was, the process for building the transmission line, a direct route and try to minimize impact to the environment. Well, from Custer's point of view, we look at that every day, and so the same kinds of things that they're looking at, we do, for distribution, we do for the sub-transmission if we're building new. What's going to be the less impact? Of course, the cheapest or less costliest is the direct route, and so we try to go that route too.